The most notorious former lawyer in America, Alec Murdaugh, the heir to a low-country legal dynasty, had it all. A family, an estate, a prestigious law firm, and lots of money. But something went terribly wrong in his life. Was it drugs? Was it greed? Was it bad investments? It's not clear. But what is clear is he went from an advocate and millionaire to a broke felon in prison, cheating his clients and law partners out of millions, then committing the ultimate sin, annihilating his own family. Murdaugh was convicted of the double murder, but believes the case will be overturned because of jury tampering. But he also has charges from all around different counties in the Low Country for all of his financial fraud. And tonight, big news. On the eve of his next criminal trial, Alec Murdaugh secures a deal. And tonight we break down his plea deal with our panel of Low Country insiders. Then we'll take a look at his outstanding legal cases and controversies and ask the question, where did all the money go? As we continue our investigation of convicted murderer Alec Murdaugh.
Here we go again, folks. I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here on Closing Arguments. He is a low country outlaw, Alec Murdaugh. You know, there were a lot of ways to describe him previously. You know, millionaire, father, husband, hardworking lawyer, fighting for the rights of those wrongfully harmed by big corporations. That's not who he is anymore. He's just a low country outlaw. A guy with cases all over the state of South Carolina and the Low Country. Fraud, stealing money, laundering money. I mean, it's unreal how many charges were leveled against this former officer of the court from a family of prosecutors. A family of prosecutors. Unreal. This unbelievable fall from grace and which side of the law he ended up on. But that's where he is. So he's got these cases everywhere. So today was the day to play let's make a deal with the prosecutor and try to like wrap everything up. They call it, in the world of law, we call it when you have charges here, you have charges there, and you have things happening and you're an outlaw. You try to come up with what they call a global agreement to try to wrap everything up into one bundle, one big bundle, and just be done with it. Because number one, they've got the evidence. Number two, you know you're guilty. And number three, you're just a low country outlaw looking for a deal. Try to mitigate the damage and all the harm that you've created. So that's where he is. But make no mistake, it's not over. It's not over for Alec Murdaugh, despite what happened in court today. He's still got some legal issues simmering on the side, trying to maneuver things, and we're going to bring in our panel of Low Country insiders to take a look at whether or not he's got some wiggle room in what happened today and what is still percolating out there. I mean, does he still think he has a chance to walk as a free man and roam around those courtrooms and neighborhoods and local taverns and country clubs that he used to walk around in? I think he thinks he's going to get out, personally. I really do. I think he is convinced that he will walk free someday. And that was part of what may have happened today. But we'll get the true word from our insiders. Right now, I want to take you inside the courtroom. Because, again, this happened today. There was supposed to be a trial on Monday. But instead of a trial on Monday, there's a global plea agreement on Friday. Take a look.
Mr. Murdaugh, aside from the count or the indictment that you are pleading guilty on the Alford, aside from that particular one, do you disagree with any of the facts stated by Mr. Waters?
I agree that I wrongly took all of that money, Your Honor, and did all of those crimes. I disagree with some of the narrative, but not the essential elements of the facts of the crimes.
And do you believe that if you were to proceed with a jury trial on these charges that you would be found guilty?
I am guilty, and yes, sir, I believe that I would be found guilty.
All right. Mr. Harpootlian and Mr. Griffin?
Nothing, Your Honor. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else with regard to the guilty pleas that you'd like to say today, Mr. Murdaugh?
No, sir, other than I'm glad to finally be given the opportunity to plead guilty. I am happy to be pleading guilty to these charges for a number of reasons.
All right, thank you.
Finally have the opportunity. By the way, I pretty much, like, no one does it, but you can, at any moment you want, if you're a criminal defendant and you're accused of something, you can walk in, you can tell your lawyer or let the judge know you want to go in court and plead guilty to everything as is, right? So, you know, looking forward to have the opportunity, you always have the opportunity to admit to everything you did, but he got a bit of a deal here today. But what kind of deal was it? What does it really mean? The judge mentioned the word Alford or Alford plea. Is there a way that he could wiggle out of this? Let's bring in our Low Country insiders. Joining me tonight in Columbia, South Carolina, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Joe McCulloch. Also in Columbia, criminal defense attorney, attorney Lori Murray. You can find her at Lawyer Lori on TikTok. But it's going to be crowded, millions of people on that. In Charlotte, North Carolina, host of the very popular podcast, The Murdaugh Family Murders, Impact of Influence, Matt Harris. And finally, in Port Royal, South Carolina, criminal defense attorney, Jared Newman. Hey, great to see the whole gang back together. Joe McCulloch, what happened today? Can you describe what really happened today? Right? Take us behind the curtain. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean, what happened down there in the courtroom today?
What happened today is the culmination of several weeks, if not months, of conversations about how to dispose of all of these financial crimes. I mean, Alec Murdaugh had admitted all of these crimes, so there's not much suspense about how this was going to end. He was either going to be convicted or he was going to walk in and enter a plea. So the only intrigue was whether this judge, Judge Newman, would be participating in this. And so what we saw today was a pretty good deal, relatively speaking, for a very guilty guy. He got 7 years. He serves 85%. At that rate, he gets out when he's about 76 or 77 years of age. He won't be much of a threat then. Once you enter a plea, it's pretty tough to come back from that. The suspense for me was to see if they got to a number and whether it was a straight-up plea, a recommended plea, or a negotiated plea. And as you heard the judge say today, it was a negotiated plea. So only the judge could only accept the deal that was struck by the litigants or reject it and tell them to go shopping for a different judge. So that, for me, was about the extent of the suspense, whether this judge was going to take it.
Yeah, and Lori, my understanding, everything is concurrent, right? Like, it's all concurrent to, like, his murder conviction and everything. So it's not like you serve one, then you serve the other. So it seems like he's up to something, all right? What do you think he's really up to here, Lori? I think that's what everyone at home wants to know tonight.
Yes, it is concurrent sentence. So he was looking at a lot of time. I mean, he had 101 charges, so I think he knew that the writing was on the wall. He'd already admitted it. So he's been trying to get this deal done, I'm sure, for a while. But the order came down from the Supreme Court yesterday, and I don't know if that had any role in it, but the Supreme Court refused to take Judge Newman off of the financial crimes. So he knew that Judge Newman was going to be the one to hear every single one of those trials. And I think that probably played a role in the last-minute dealings that got this deal done today. But what I was waiting to hear, I know Joe says that he was waiting to hear the number and whether it was a negotiated plea or whether Judge Newman had any discretion. But what I was waiting to hear was, is Judge Newman going to allow him to serve that concurrent to his federal time, because I do think he might have the power to do that. And we all know, we've been talking about he'd rather do his time in federal court instead of state court. But Creighton made sure to state twice that he would be serving his time in state prison. He wanted the public to know that we knew he wanted that and that he wasn't going to give it to him.
So let's take a listen to Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, the defense team for Alec Murdaugh today after court. Let's take a listen.
Both Jim and I believe today was a big step in resolving Alex Murdaugh's issues. As Jim can tell you in more detail, since he admitted his financial crimes in September of 21, is that right?
Exactly.
He's been wanting to plead guilty to these or resolve them since then. So this is a big step. And we'll have, after the sentencing, we'll have more comments, but we have just obviously very brief comments today. Jim?
Yeah, I mean, this was, as Alex said in court, you know, he'd been wanting to plead guilty. Really, the only impediment was, you know, would we have a plea terms that would give him an opportunity to get out of prison? And today we've got those terms, and you know, he's prepared to serve a long time. As he said to me, as we were going into the courtroom, you know, he feels very comfortable doing prison time for crimes that he did, and he knew that he was going to prison. He does not feel comfortable doing prison time for the murders of his wife and son, for which he did not do, and we still are singularly focused on exonerating him for those convictions, and we'll be having hearings, hopefully, you know, probably the first of the year, but we don't know for sure. He said in federal court when he did a plea to similar charges that, you know, he wanted closure for the victims. And, you know, he, believe it or not, you know, he cares for these victims, and he feels badly about it. And he was, you know, and people want to diminish this, but he was in the throes of an opioid addiction. And, it, you know, it had taken over his life. And so, you know, he's opioid free, he's drug free, and he feels awful about his conduct.
Matt Harris, what did you think about Alec Murdaugh in court today, his appearance, and what went down today? I still think there's something else, and Joe keeps smiling up there. There's like something else going on here that I just don't know what it is. But what are your thoughts, Matt?
It was kind of surprising how jovial Alec was during a lot of it, but I guess a little bit of free air and maybe the coffee of your choice makes a prisoner smile a little bit. And, you know, he's got to be thrilled with this part being off the plates. They can focus on the jury tampering situation. But I don't think a lot of people are going to be feeling great sympathy for Alec Murdaugh when they talk about him being an addict and whatnot. And, you know, probably true. But if they're looking for sympathy, that's not going to happen in the low country or most of the country, that's for sure.
No, the whole, I think you can say the whole country there. Jared Newman, okay, I heard from Lori, I heard from Joe, but I need to hear from you. What is he holding up in his sleeve? I just don't, I think there's something else going on here. Jared, is there something else going on here that I'm not getting?
Well, I think, you know, on a selfish end, what we try and do for clients, what I try and do, anytime somebody is going to prison or you know, the outcomes there, you do want a global plea. You want to get rid of everything because you get certain privileges taken away from you if you have pending charges while you are serving time in the South Carolina Department of Corrections. This may give him some more privileges that he now does not have any pending charges against him.
Okay. I'm going to go back to you, Joe, one more time. Is there something that I am missing here? Because he just folded. He just folded inside the courtroom. I know it's concurrent, right? So it's sort of a free crime when things are concurrent. Let's all admit that. Concurrent is legal talk for free crime. But what else is going on here? What could he possibly do? Is there any way he could wiggle out? Let's say, for instance, there's like some miracle and the double murder conviction goes away. Is there a way that he can wiggle out of this thing?
His toothpaste has been packed since 2019. He's not getting out of this plea, and he's bet the cards on whether he will get a new trial on the deaths and on the life sentences because of the murder trials, and that's going to be interesting to watch. We'll happily
we're going to
be
dive
involved
into
in
that in just a second. In our second segment, we're going to dive into what's going on there. Lori, what do you think his life is like right now inside the prison? Because, I mean, he actually looks better than he looked during the trial.
I agree. He does look better, and I still think it's hilarious that you think he has something up his sleeve. I mean, I don't trust him either, but there's no walking back from a guilty plea. And if you heard it or listened to any of it, there's a no appeal provision in there as well. So he's not appealing this. He's not getting out of it. He's not going to walk it back. But his life in prison, I heard at one point that he was segregated. I don't know if he's still segregated. I think that he's probably made friends by now. He's probably been offering his legal services to people in there because there are a lot of criminal appellate lawyers, a lot of jailhouse lawyers.
You know what he'll do? You know what he'll do? He'll charge him like a pack of cigarettes and promise him something, and he'll put it right in his pocket. Like,
we don't have cigarettes in jails anymore, in prisons anymore. But I mean, I'm sure there's some donuts or something. Pack of ramen.
He'll promise him cigarettes. That's what he'll do, and he'll smoke them himself. All right, Matt, have you heard anything about the rest of the family, the Murdaugh dynasty? Are they still kind of with him? Are they visiting him? Are they in his life? Do we know anything about what's going on there with the rest of the Murdaughs?
No, I haven't heard about whether they were visiting him or not. I know that Randy was mentioned today as one of the pleas, but they went and said he wasn't admitting total guilt on that one, but he pled to it. So you don't really hear much. So Randy and the law firm have gotten in line for their share of whatever money might be left at some point. That's all we know.
So Jared Newman, what's the buzz? Like, if you go to the courthouse, are people still talking about Alec Murdaugh?
Every time I meet other lawyers in the courthouse, the first thing we have to say is, let's get the elephant out of the room first. So, yeah, the talk's still going on, why, how, and how crazy this whole thing was. I mean, this was bizarre.
It really was. Okay.